The feeling of finding a quarter or a dollar bill in the ground is one thing, but to stumble upon treasures and artifacts is a whole other. Some lucky people happen to find old Austrian treasures. Others found dinosaur bones. Some of these lucky finds stand to make the finders a fortune. Others are just a little bit creepy and scary. We'll let you judge for yourself. Welcome back to Forever Green. Today, we're going to look at some lucky people who came upon the rarest things unexpectedly. But before we begin, what is the craziest thing you've ever found unexpectedly? Share it with us in the comments below. Let's dive in. Number 15. Pliosaur Bone. Imagine digging in your backyard and making a significant archaeological discovery. When John Lambert from Suffolk was fixing the fence in his backyard, he caught sight of a massive bone at the far end of his yard. Of course, curiosity piqued, and he went to check it out. He probably didn't think much of it and put it in his shed instead of calling anyone about it, which certainly sounds annoying. But what would you do if you weren't sure? But after some years of waiting, he finally took the object to the Ipswich Museum, where experts confirmed the historical significance of the bone. The experts were astounded that John didn't at all suspect that this dinosaur bone could be from a 250 million year old creature. But that's not the end of it. As far as experts know, pliosaurs only lived in waters around Africa, Australia, and China, not Great Britain. How did the fossil come to be buried in Lambert's garden? It could have been pulled here from the northern seas with glacial clays, or a collector brought it there and just forgot about it. Pliosaurs are an extinct species of marine reptiles from the Jurassic and Cretaceous eras. They resemble crocodiles with their short necks and large heads with massive jaws. They were carnivorous and ranged anywhere from 4 to 15 meters in length. Now, there's no doubt that the T-Rex doesn't walk among us, but some cryptozoologists have speculated that these prehistoric fish are still swimming in the oceans. The oceans are dark, deep, and vast. How would we find out? It's possible that a colony of them survived. Either way, it's an impressive find. Number 14. A hand of gold. Ever heard of the Midas touch? Well, this is that, but not quite. Kevin Hillier, an Australian man living on a bus in a campground with his wife and 4 children, was on a vagabond bus trip around Australia. It started out as a fun travel adventure, but things took a turn when Kevin injured his back on the trip. As he recovered from his injury, his doctor told him to take up metal detecting, saying that the exercise would strengthen his back. And you can see where he was going. Hillier was doing just that in the Kingower State Forest in southeastern Australia in 1980 when his metal detector started buzzing like crazy. He dug about a foot down into the soil and uncovered the tip of a gold nugget. He thought it might be about 50 ounces, but as he kept digging, it just got bigger and bigger. After more than 2 hours of digging, he finally uncovered the entire thing, a hand-shaped nugget weighing almost 60 pounds. The Hillier family sold the incredible find to the Golden Nugget Casino in Las Vegas for $1 million and used the money to buy a house in Perth, a new car, a vacation to Holland, and other goodies. And to capitalize on the good luck, they also staked a gold mining claim in the area where they found their nugget, then cleared the site with a bulldozer. So, did they get rich twice? Unfortunately, nope. They found a few 20-gram nuggets, but that was it. Guess you strike gold just once. Number 13. The Declaration of Independence. In a flea market? In 1989, a lucky collector bought a painting at a flea market in Pennsylvania for $4 for the frame. When he tried to remove the artwork, he found something sitting inside the frame. Among them was an old document between the canvas and the frame wood. It turned out to be the first printing of the Declaration of Independence, valued at $1 million. Number 12. Whale vomit. Yeah, it's not the most appealing thing to find, but what if we told you that it's actually worth quite a fortune? Stick with us. Jumrus Thiachat, a 55-year-old Thai fisherman, was only making $13 a day and had very little money to his name. Then in early 2019, Jumrus was walking on the beach and found a yellow lump of something. He thought the waxy substance might be ambergris, made in the belly of a sperm whale. You only need a tiny amount of this substance to make fragrances last longer, and this was a sizable chunk, and that essentially means this chunk is floating gold for the perfume industry. Jumrus stored the lump in his shed and got back to his life. Nearly a year passed after Jumrus finally needed to know the truth, so he contacted the provincial governor, who brought an expert to the fisherman's house. The result? The substance was determined to be at least 80% ambergris, with an estimated value of $320,000. Luck is really in the weirdest places. Number 11. Jeep found diving underwater. If you love the sea, the waters of Andaman have a treasure trove in store for you with its blue beaches, mangrove forests, and rich sea life. Scuba diving here is an absolute must. You can see beautiful corals and colorful fish, not to mention a jeep wreck. This jeep found underwater off the coast of Havelock Island in Andaman seems to have corals growing on it and fishes moving in and out of it. It looks like something from the Second World War, and some little creatures seem to have made their home in it. Number 10. The Churchill Collection. The most famous Brit of the 20th century is probably Prime Minister Winston Churchill, who helped lead the Allies to victory in World War II. So, if you owned a top hat that belonged to Churchill, or a box of cigars, or even a handkerchief, you would want to hold on to them. Well, apparently, someone didn't, because whoever owned these items threw them away in 2019. The appraisers were able to authenticate the collection thanks to 200 letters that were stored with the top hat and cigars. The letters weren't written by Churchill himself, but by his cook. The cook apparently used to write to her son every day about the daily goings-on of Winston Churchill, what he was getting up to, how he was feeling, and just random interesting stuff about him. The collection has an estimated value of $13,000, but its worth goes beyond money. Of course, because they provide a rare insight into Churchill's life. Number 9. Terrifying sea creature found in Cape Town. Imagine this. You're taking a lovely stroll down a beach when you spot something that looks like a clam / fish / squid hybrid. Leandra Visser found this carcass on a beach near Cape Town, South Africa, while on a vacation. She did what any of us would do. She took a picture and posted it to Facebook for some answers. It looks fake, but we assure you it's a real fish. It's a clingfish called the red rocksucker. It was shared tens of thousands of times on social media, and you could see why. Rocksuckers can actually be rather cute, with that fearsome dentition hidden behind a pair of fleshy lips. But, as is the case with almost every animal, humans included, harsh sunlight can make a supple exterior look like lobster leather on camera. Native to African waters, red rocksuckers are commonly found in tide pools from the Namibian coastline and on towards the northern reaches of South Africa's KwaZulu-Natal. When they wash up dead, the blazing sun affects their scales first. As they dehydrate, the skin begins to shrink. This continues until eventually, the lips move back far enough to expose the jaws that once fit comfortably within them. Essentially, the fish mummifies from the outside in. The fish feed primarily on limpets, which are aquatic snails that use a powerful muscular foot to cling to rocks. But the rocksucker's impressive chompers are the perfect tools for priving the mollusks loose. Number 8. Ferrari buried in a backyard. You can either save up for years to buy this Italian sports car, or you can hope that one is lying buried in your backyard. In 1978, two boys were exploring the backyard of their new home and started digging holes when they noticed something buried deep in the ground. As they kept digging, they were amazed to find a car buried beneath the ground. Not just any car, but a 1974 Ferrari Dino 246 GTS. Upon further investigation, it was found out that the owners of the buried car had reported it stolen 4 years ago. The owners couldn't be found, so the insurance company just sold it to the highest bidder. But that isn't the end of the story. An investigation in 2012 revealed that the owners hid the car in an empty swimming pool themselves to get the insurance money. They disappeared once they got the money, and the car stayed there for 4 years until the boys found it. Number 7. Disney memorabilia in California. If you're a fan of the show Storage Wars, you know the excitement that comes with unlocking a unit and eagerly peeking inside. The place is full of possibilities. More often than not, it might just be garbage, but sometimes you find some gems. Like when in 2011, a staggering 40,000-piece collection of movie and TV memorabilia was discovered in an abandoned storage locker in California. The previous owners of the collection were industry executives and had gathered a treasure trove of Hollywood memorabilia over several years. But when the rent in their storage unit fell into arrears, they abandoned the contents of the locker and sent it into auction. At the auction, two lucky hunters bagged the find. Inside, they found movie memorabilia, props, costumes, posters, scripts, and even Disney and Bollywood movie production items, thousands of Disney animation production cells, some original Tim Burton art, unreleased publicity photos, and many autographed theatrical posters. A collection like this is likely to sell for tens of millions of dollars, but that is only if they plan to sell it. I personally wouldn't be able to part with any of it. Number 6. Pink grasshopper. You heard that right. And no, the pink grasshopper is not a cocktail. It's very much a real animal. Pink grasshoppers are the result of a genetic mutation called etherism, which affects a recessive gene similar to the one that causes albinism. One family from Austin, Texas, learned that this weekend when 3-year-old Brooks Barger found one in his Oak Hill garden. Brooks loved bugs, so he spent a lot of time talking sweetly to the grasshopper. It wasn't until his mother Googled it that they found out how rare a pink grasshopper was. Jared Alley, an entomologist at the University of Delaware, said that pink grasshoppers are commonly believed to be a recessive trait, hence its infrequency in the wild. Some experts, however, think that it was once a dominant trait that was largely eradicated because these grasshoppers' pink hue makes them easier for predators to spot. Pink individuals naturally have a more challenging time because they live in a green world. So, why do they exist at all? Well, they may have come to exist due to an environment in which being pink was beneficial. Fields filled with red and pink tones, for example, or common predators who were averse to pink grasshoppers because another pink organism tasted bad. A phenomenon called betaism mimicry. After some well-deserved admiration, the grasshopper was returned to the garden. Number 5. $3.5 million chunk of quartz in Arkansas. What if you worked in a mine and uncovered an 8-foot block of crystals worth $3.5 million? This chunk of quartz was discovered in the Ron Coleman mine in Jesseville, Arkansas. It took 4 days of excavation to finally extract the massive block. The area is known to have a 170-mile-long quartz vein running through it, so it wasn't such a surprise when the miners found it. Crews blasted the area until they found the vein and then used hand tools to dig out the 2,000-pound chunk that machines lifted out of the mine. The crystal cluster is one of the most impressive pieces to come out of the quarry since people started digging before World War II, in part to retrieve crystals used in early radios. The latest find is second in size to only a 9-foot, 3,000-pound circular formation that was found in the mine just a year or two before. You can find the larger piece on display at various trade shows in Arizona, but the other one remains in Jesseville until it can be sold. Number 4. Message in a bottle. It's only natural to want to throw a bottle with a message into the ocean when you're walking on the beach. Some people have done it, and the oldest message in a bottle was found in Western Australia in 2018. Tanya Illman from Perth picked up the bottle while walking on a remote beach in West Australia. She had no idea what it was until she took it home and dried it in the oven. Experts later confirmed that it is an authentic message from a German ship. The note in the bottle was dated 12 June 1886. It was jettisoned from the German ship Paula as part of an experiment into ocean and shipping routes by the German Naval Observatory. The note instructed that when it was found, the finders must contact the German consulate. Bit late for that now, I think. Number 3. $10 million in gold coins. Ever wanted to be part of the Pirates of the Caribbean universe? The costumes, the weapons, and all the gold treasure? Well, a couple from California is at least one step closer to that dream. Nothing says pirates treasure like $10 million in gold coins. The dream of discovering buried treasure came true for this California couple when they were walking their dog. They stumbled upon a literal pot of gold. Called the Saddle Ridge Hoard, this pot contained 1,411 gold coins, minted between 1847 and 1984, making its total estimate $10 million. The discovery was apparently made on a path they had used for years. They spotted the side of a rusted can barely emerging from a hillside, and they dug it out with a stick and carried it home. Subsequent trips to the site turned up several more treasure-filled cans. Maybe getting off the couch and going for a walk is good sometimes. Understandably, the couple doesn't want their name out in the papers. You're never too far from relatives and friends who want a favor after all. It is now time to check out today's subscriber pick. Remember, if you ever come across some bizarre or fascinating images, you can send it to us and we'll investigate. Today's picture was sent to us by a subscriber who found this glass ball in Hawaii. We searched the internet far and wide for something similar. Take a look at what we found. Number 2. A glass ball. A couple walking on a beach found these extraordinary things in the sand. A glass ball that had become the home of a small marine ecosystem. There is speculation, however, that these glass balls are an art project. The man doesn't sell it, he just makes it and hides it all around the world for people to find. Before we take a look at the next one, we've got a quick challenge for you that will take you just 5 seconds. Go ahead and subscribe to the Forever Green channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload, and you'll get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It works. Done that? Great. Number 1. Action Comics 1. Action Comics 1 was the debut of Superman and is renowned as the most expensive comic book of all time, for obvious reasons. There are only about 100 copies of this edition in existence, and one of those belongs to Nicolas Cage. Well, it belonged to him until it was stolen from his home in Los Angeles in 2000. Cage bought the comic for $150,000 in 1997 and thought it was lost forever before a lucky person found the comic in an abandoned storage locker in Southern California. Cage decided to sell it anyway and got $2.16 million as a result. So, if you have bought any new comics lately, we highly suggest holding onto them tight and keeping them in excellent condition. You could earn a lifetime's worth of money